number 10.
Super Metroid. From the moment you first boot up the game and are greeted with a room full of dead scientists surrounding a single alien Metroid with a Nintendo logo alongside all of it, you knew you were in for something special with Super Metroid on the SNES. Super Metroid built upon the groundwork of the NES original and continued the story from the Game Boy sequel, Metroid 2: Return to Samus. Bounty hunter Samus Aran delivers the last Metroid over to some scientists for study and has to come back almost immediately when she receives a distress call from them. When she gets back to the scientist base, everyone is dead, the Metroid has been stolen by the space pirate Ridley, and gets taken away to a newly rebuilt base on the planet Zebes, which was that place Samus destroyed in the original Metroid game. The word atmospheric tends to get brought up a lot when talking about Super Metroid, and that's for good damn reason. Outside of a little bit of text at the very beginning of the game, the rest of Super Metroid occurs with no dialogue, trusting you to figure things out with only a map, and a few very subtle hints in order to navigate your way through the planet Zebes. All of this combined with the game's low-key soundtrack really help create a feeling of isolation as you try and navigate your way through the planet. The game really encourages exploration and rewards you with hidden areas, weapon, life, and armor power-ups, as well as a few other hidden surprises along the way. Super Metroid provided us with hours upon hours of immersive and fun gameplay, and it truly is one of those Super Nintendo titles that classify as a must-play game.
Final Fantasy VII. Wow, hopefully this is number one on the list. But for some reason I think it's not. What can I say? Final Fantasy VII is epic. It's a grand tale full of love, betrayal, good and evil. And like most of the other notable Final Fantasy entries, it has an amazing soundtrack and lineup of characters that will make you laugh, cry, and shake your fist with anger by the time the credits roll. The turn-based combat system is complemented by unique character abilities, and then you throw in the materia system, and what you have is not only the best RPG ever made, but rather the best video game ever made. Final Fantasy VII. It's everything you've ever wanted in a video game.
Final Fantasy VII is to many one of the greatest RPGs of all time. To me, it is one of the best games of all time and deserves the number one spot on my list. Final Fantasy VII paved the way for RPGs to become cool and mainstream over in North America. RPGs were still a niche genre before FF7, but after its release on PlayStation 1, it seemed that an explosion of RPGs were to follow. FF7 took the series in a bold new direction, abandoning its fantasy roots in order to push a sort of cyberpunk, sci-fi, fantasy mashup. Few video game worlds have been as enticing since. It mixed the regular JRPG turn-based battle system up with its deceptively deep materia system, and the music. There are a few soundtracks that meet with the consistent quality and joy that this one has. Final Fantasy VII has spread across media, characters guest starring in other games, spin-off games, movies, and more. It's no surprise that CEO Yoichi Wada said during the company's annual shareholder meeting that it would not remake it until they make a new Final Fantasy game that exceeds the quality of Final Fantasy VII. And to that I say, good luck.
Donkey Kong Country. If you had a Super Nintendo back in the 90s, you probably owned Donkey Kong Country. It was a side-scrolling platformer where you played as Donkey or Diddy Kong trying to steal all your bananas back from the evil King K. Rool. As you embark on this epic quest, you adventure through 7 worlds, each with 6 levels and a boss fight. There are 3 main kinds of levels, which are regular levels, minecart levels, and underwater levels. One high of the game, in my opinion, is the music, especially the underwater theme. The music is really atmospheric and really gives you a feel for wherever that level takes place in the game. For example, if you are playing a forest level, the music makes you feel like you are in a forest. One thing that set this game apart from most others was the use of pre-rendered CGI graphics. It gave the characters fluid animations and the game a polished look that few others had. Super Mario Bros. Super Mario Bros. Was released in 1985 in both Japan and North America, and was released in Europe and Australia 2 years later. Super Mario Bros. Changed video games forever with its simplistic gameplay, many secrets, and wide array of enemies. In Super Mario, you have to save Princess Peach from the evil Bowser, a giant, yellow, turtle-like monster with spikes on its shell. You can play Mario with either 1 or 2 players, the second player playing as Luigi. Super Mario Bros. Was the best-selling game of all time for over 3 decades at over 40 million units. In 2005, IGN named the highly influential game as the greatest hit of all time. I think it's safe to say, if Super Mario had not been created, Nintendo, and maybe even the entire gaming industry, would not be where it is today.
Chrono Trigger is simply a masterpiece. With some of the greatest minds of the RPG genre in the 90s behind it, Chrono Trigger offers an RPG experience unlike any other. It's short, concise, and fulfilling. Chrono Trigger shouldn't take longer than 15 hours to play, but you'll want to revisit the game due to its multiple endings and fantastic battle system that keep encounters interesting throughout the short length of the game. It also helps that Chrono Trigger sports some of the best production values for any game on the Super Nintendo, with visuals that have stood the test of time and music that is continually reused and revisited to this day. Chrono Trigger is a powerful experience, and one that I would still say is my favorite game of all time.
Number 5.
Mega Man 2. Wow, what can I say? It's pretty much platforming heaven on the NES. It takes everything from the first Mega Man and makes it way better. From the amazing soundtrack to the incredible level design, everything in this sequel shines. Flashman's stage music and the buzz sound when you're using the metal blade attack will forever be ingrained in my memory. Oh, and let's not forget that big dragon boss. Epic. Mega Man 2. It's Mega Man 1, but better.
I consider Ocarina of Time to be the greatest game of all time. This is the first time I've ever played a video game that made me feel like I was going on an adventure and not just playing a game. Sure, it's not the best looking game by today's standards, but it has to be one of the most influential. It was open world, it had a day-night cycle, you could ride a horse. This was unheard of in 1998. Sometimes I didn't even want to continue the story. I could just go hunt ghosts in Hyrule Field or go fishing at Lake Hylia. This game's music is amazing. Not only that, but the music plays a pivotal role in the game. I love this game so much that for a 13-year period, it was a yearly tradition that I beat this game. I truly believe there will never be another game that holds such a special place in my heart.
The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past is a well-loved top-down action-adventure title, released in 1991 for the Super Famicom and 1992 in North America for the Super Nintendo. You play as the hero, Link, in a quest to once again rescue the princess and save Hyrule from the evil that is Ganon. A slew of items are available throughout the unique dungeons to aid in defeating the dungeon bosses as well as progressing through the game. The game is split into 2 versions of the overworld, a light world and a dark world, which offers varying scenery, enemies, and equipment. The game features beautiful sprite-based graphics, a timeless soundtrack, very tight controls, and menu functionality. This is my favorite game of all time, and no matter how many times I play through it from start to finish, it just never gets old. A true classic.
Super Mario Bros. 3. Super Mario Bros. 3 may not be only the best Mario game ever made, it may be the best video game of all time. In short, the game is a masterpiece, and really sets the example for what a great platformer is. Tight platforming controls, vibrant and memorable visuals, and catchy music all come together to form this perfect package that set the standard for what a platformer needed to be. All in all, I love this game. This game is one that I just want to play over and over and over again. To those who haven't taken the time to enjoy this classic, I would encourage you to stop what you're doing and go play this game right now. Super Mario Bros. 3 is deserving of any spot on the CC100, although I have a feeling that it'll be up toward the top.
Number 1.
How do you follow one of the greatest video games of all time? One of the best-selling video games of all time? A video game so popular, they made a movie about it starring Fred Motherlovin' Savage. I'll tell you how in one word. Yoshi. Now, we can sit here and BS all day about all the great things that Super Mario World has that Super Mario Bros. 3 doesn't, like the wing cape or the special zone or a save feature, but we all know it comes down to one thing, that little green shoe-wearing, egg-laying, tongue-slinging dinosaur we know and love named T. Yoshisaur Munchakoopas. What? You didn't know that was his real name? Yep. Old T. Yoshisaur Munchakoopas hatched into our lives the day the Super Nintendo arrived, and he hasn't left since. I mean, seriously, the impact Yoshi has had on the Mario franchise makes it hard to believe there are Mario games that exist without Yoshi. Need I point out the direct sequel to Super Mario World doesn't even star Mario? No, it stars Yoshi! And don't fact-check me on this one, because I sure didn't, but next to Mario, Yoshi has starred in more games than Luigi, Peach, and Toad combined. Super Mario World was a perfect follow-up to Super Mario Bros. 3, not only living up to expectations, but far exceeding them. And it's all thanks to a little dinosaur named T. Yoshisaur Munchakoopas. But what does the T stand for?